Welcome to the Mexico Mission Trip podcast. I don't know what time of day it is. Joining us, we have
Allie Tribulus,
Joanna Alexander,
Aaron Alexander.
You can do it.
and Jim Rambo, and me. Just wanted to share, be able to, because not everyone gets to sit down with everyone and ask about the mission trip, and so we wanted to share a little bit about that. And so I try my best to prepare people for Mexico, but I can't prepare them for everything that they will experience. And so what is something in Mexico, whether it be culture-wise or with the church-wise or whatever it may be, what's something that surprised you while we were in Mexico?
the stray dogs. That was actually really surprising.
But how peaceful the dogs were.
Yeah,
they
they're
only
so
barked
chill.
at night.
A lot of stray dogs in the cities. They're like stray. In the village, they're usually street dogs. So like they have a home and a house and a family, but they're just allowed to roam in the streets whenever. What else surprised people?
The roads.
What about the roads? That they had roads?
No, I wasn't
All the
surprised they had
potholes.
roads. It's just like how they drive and stuff. It's just so different from the U.S. Like they're just so like carefree and like they just like go around like potholes and like go into different lanes and like swerve. And it was fun. And riding in the back of trucks, that was fun.
Swerving.
Yeah, there's a lot of motorcycles too.
Oh
Yes, me and Allie got a motorcycle ride.
Yeah, we rode on a motorcycle. It was so fun.
Yeah, they saw one and they're like, "Dame un ride, por favor." Yeah. Anything surprising, Tim, being your second time around?
I wouldn't say like surprising, but it was like very interesting and good to see how like the team was such a good team. Like, because you're mixing two different churches, you never really know. Like everyone there was very nice and good, which made for a great team. But you never know if someone's just not going to get along or.
Yeah, or if there'd be like a tangible separation between the different parties, but it felt pretty unified.
I think all the outdoor kitchens were also kind of a surprise to me. Like wood-fired cooking outside. Covered. Not so when it rains, but, being a mom cooking, I'm like, I'd have to start a fire every time before I cook.
Yeah, we'd be annoyed if we had to go back to the days with the matches and the stove top, let alone.
But our host did
Yeah,
have a microwave and an inside stove.
Did you ever see them use
Yes.
the oven?
No, not the oven. The stove, though.
Because most ovens are never used in Mexico. They don't do much baking in the houses, so it ends up just being like storage. So that's a thing you'll see here in the States with like your students and stuff. That's like a running joke on Latino meme pages.
I understand so much more about my students and just behavioral things that they do now, too. I have to give lots of lessons on littering. We don't do that. We don't just drop. And now I know why. Because in Mexico City and other places, they just drop and then they pay people to come behind and clean it up. Yeah, we don't do that the same here.
Yeah, very, very, very different littering culture for sure. And that's something I had to learn as a kid. Was like, my mom was like, "Well, don't litter." I was like, "But all my friends, like, you grab a fruit off someone's tree, you peel it, and then you just throw the skin on the side of the road. Like, that's just what you do." Yeah, very, very different. What were some memorable moments from the trip?
I almost did bring my journal. I was
didn't-
looking forward to grab
I didn't
it.
think about that. I should have brought
Because
it.
there's so many memorable moments. It's like to cipher through. That's what I'm doing right now. As you ask that question, I'm like going through my brain, like, okay, which one should I share?
I think
There are so many.
the most memorable moments were the Las Mañanitas.
Las Manitas,
Las Mañanitas.
yeah.
Mañanitas.
Explain.
So basically, it's like when there's a lot of birthdays in the village. So it's the night before someone's birthday. We surprise them at their house and we play the guitar and sing songs. And we would just go around or they would go around saying what they liked.
Like a memory.
Yes, memories about them, things they love about them. And yeah, it was just really fun. We ate cake. Oh, and we smashed their faces into the cake.
The locals didn't see it coming. Allie just thought it'd be funny.
That's not true. I would never do that.
But you did multiple times.
But yeah, I think that was one of the most memorable things.
I loved when we went to go visit all the mission churches and then going through the ranches and stopping at the memorial and being a history person, hearing about the defending of La Pamilla from invaders, I guess. And that sounds like a sci-fi movie. But so hearing about that, like just going through the ranches, and it was really beautiful too.
That's one of the like staples I think of each trip, because then it helps you like see the working place essentially of most of the men in the village, and also seeing the mission churches is to see that like it doesn't just like stop at La Palmilla, but they're also intentional about pouring in and helping it local other smaller congregations.
Did the mission churches know we were coming? Did you
To
give
visit?
Them, yeah. Did you give them like a heads up?
Damian
Okay.
was aware.
I wasn't sure because I was like, how come every time we show up they have food? Like it didn't matter where we stopped. There was like loads of food that just came out, and like then I realized maybe they got a heads up that we were going to stop by.
They did get a heads up that we were going to stop by, and also most likely, even if we just showed up, they would scramble and try and find
Exactly.
whatever food because they knew we were starving, and so
Yeah.
they.
Because we hadn't eaten at
My
these
stomach
4
was
places.
full.
Yeah, it was weird. I remember like day like 7-ish. I forget what activity we were doing, but we had like had a large break from eating, and someone was like, "I'm feeling hungry. I haven't felt this for days." And so very well fed all the time.
I think something else I didn't expect, but is also a great memory, is with Naum and the fact that he knows 7 languages, and he's so funny, and he's such a character. Like I love Naum. He was so fun to be around, and then we would speak like how crazy English is and our vowels, and we had a whole nother level of conversations, from the teacher side. But yeah, that was very surprising that he knows 7 languages
Yeah.
in this little village in the middle of Mexico somewhere.
Yeah, luckily, sponsored children's project and getting him college. I'm pretty sure his first degree was in world languages, his bachelor's. He went away. Like, he'd always been practicing English with me growing up, but then it went to just a whole nother level. And then he somehow got in contact with, like, people from all over the world, so he just has friends that he speaks German and Italian and French with.
There's like too many to pick.
But you have to, for the pod. I'll share the one about Peter.
The very first night at youth group, I feel like I've already shared this with a lot of people, but like everyone was just so excited to meet us, and then like we were talking for an hour or so, just like asking each other questions, because there's so much to talk about when you like don't know each other and you live in completely different lifestyles. And yeah, just hanging out for like 2 hours after youth group and playing volleyball, it was so fun.
Yeah. And it was really nice to see, like, people being able to talk to one another, because usually with the language barrier, I end up, like, translating, and everyone just, like, huddles around me and Naum so that we can have 2 semi-conversations. But many of our youth were very, very good with their Spanish and were able to hold up on their own. And I was rendered more useless, which was delightful for moi. But sometimes people wanted translation, like Peter. And so while we were playing volleyball that night, Peter had hit the ball really hard and said, "Jeremy, ask them if they bought tickets for the gun show." And I told him, I said, "Peter, they do not use guns as to mean biceps, so it's not going to make any sense. Are you sure you want me to do this?" And he said, yeah, tell them. So I got everyone's attention. And in Spanish, I said, Peter wants to know, did you buy tickets for the gun show? And in unison, like 50% of them said K, which means what? And I was like, there you go, Peter. Are you happy? Just fell so flat. It was so funny.
The host for Peter's host family,
Oh, Linda.
Linda, how she was just glued to him, especially during the children's blessing service at church. She would not let him put her down. It's one of the cutest things.
That was the same family he had 2 years ago, and she was the same way right away last time. Yeah, she was like, Pedro. And then anytime he would play with another little girl, she would get jealous, and she'd go off in the corner and, like, pout and be upset.
I'd say like the waterfall and rafting was really
Mm.
fun and memorable, just with the team.
Yeah, we didn't do that last time. So we got to go in a white water rafting boat. We went to El Encanto, so we got to, like, raft upriver to, like, this canyon, slot canyon that had a waterfall coming down, and then the water levels were, like, just right, which is very, very rare, that we can actually like go swim underneath the waterfall, which was a lot of fun. Tim jumped off a rock, and then we went down the rapids and got off at the village.
That was such a beautiful spot.
How do we want to go through with that
I
story?
mean, like, I don't want that to be the focus of this
Yeah.
trip.
Yeah, I
So,
agree.
like, yes, like 4 of us got sick, 3 of us really sick from street side tacos. But, like, it was 10, 12 hours, stressful, not fun hours, but we were there for 10 days.
Yeah.
And God showed up in so many different ways. Mexico medicine,
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it's a good testimony.
like things that
Yeah.
would never happen in the U.S. that just fell into place. So Naum, his cousin, is a doctor at a clinic in Slapacoin, which is about 20 minutes away. And he wasn't there, so his sister, who's a dentist, opened up the clinic so Jeremy could go get supplies that Rebecca made a list for.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this was Rebecca's first trip down in 5 years. So having an IV nurse trained, like that's her job right there, is a total gift from God.
Yeah. She finally pulled her weight.
Right. No, I'm joking. No, we've been so thankful for the 2 of you. And just being able to get the IV and the medication that was needed delivered to the house,
At like 10:30 to 1:30 in the.
and then needing another set still,
Mm-hmm.
and the doctor bringing that one
Yeah.
was, and the house call. Just like house calls are coming back in the U.S. as like this niche thing where
Yeah.
it wasn't that way for a long time. But yeah, the doctor shows up. He's like, yeah, you guys are great. You're doing a good job. And then goes to see Tim.
Yeah.
Just a lot of small things that happened. Even the bus ride, the fact that we were able to get another bus
Mm.
at a later time.
All worked. Yeah, and it worked out with like what we were doing in Mexico City, the rest of the team, so that like when they were ready to kind of like be done at the hotels when I went to go pick you guys up, it all worked out great for the circumstances. And that's where it's like it was the worst sickness I've had on a mission team, but also it was like I didn't feel bad for the origin of it because we're so particular about what restaurants and places and how host families like prepare foods and stuff, because our stomachs just can't handle certain things that are down there that their bodies are used to. So then it was like a random taco stand in a random town on the way to the beach. It was like, okay, well, next time I'll be very explicit to the families that like we stick to these things.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, like it wasn't Angelina's cooking that got.
yeah, it wasn't on Helena. It wasn't like, Angeles Tacos in town or anything like that.
And
Random
there was
meats.
also like people awake in America to pray for us,
Yes.
which was really cool. Yeah, God just provided that.
Yeah. So,
Even though it wasn't your favorite moment when I walked in and cracked a joke.
Oh, that was funny.
That was actually something Joanna prayed for, or
She got it.
to lighten the mood.
He did lighten the mood though.
He did.
Yeah.
He made me laugh.
Yeah,
With an
it was,
idea.
it was nice.
it was good.
But like even yesterday in Sunday school, we were talking about spiritual warfare,
Mm.
angels, demons versus circumstances. And I honestly believe it's a mix of all of it. God provided different situations and different knowledge and different wisdom for people throughout the whole trip in all different ways. But then he's also right there with you. And it's a good mix of what life is like being a Christian.
I'll say, Allie, would you be willing to share a little bit about the first time you got sick in Mexico and the conversation we had afterwards?
Yeah, so I think I got sick from overeating because I had so much food. I was really like holding my own weight. Like I was doing good, like, but I was eating so much. Like I would get like
You had, like 15
So
tacos the
hungry,
last meal
too.
before you got sick.
oh yeah, I had so much tacos. I was like eating other people's tacos. I couldn't finish theirs. And then I had the chilta bean, which is like the spicy little bean, because I wanted to try it, and it was so spicy. And I think just everything combined, like I had tres leches cake that night too. Like I had a lot. I had so much food, probably the most I've eaten in a day, honestly. But the next, like that night, I went to bed, like my stomach was hurting, and I woke up in the middle of the night, and I was just like, so I was sick that whole day. I was in bed, didn't get to go rafting, but I did learn a lot because it was definitely a fear of mine getting sick, especially in a foreign country without my mom there. But I told Jeremy, like, I think God, like, wanted this to happen because it's definitely a fear that I had to face. So I told him that I think it was meant to happen.
and God planned for me to get sick so I could face that fear. And I've definitely like overcome, getting sick. And it taught me a lot of independence because, I'm moving to college soon. So, yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the things that was really encouraging partway through the trip, that she was able to like recognize and see that very shortly after, and talked about like, there's going to be times in life where the bad happens and we're not going to see very like within a day how God is using it for good or could use it for good. And so to trust that he is, even in longer times of discomfort or tough times. And I think that's a lesson that we can all take away from it. And I don't think there's like words to describe it, like how much Allie doesn't like to get sick. People like, no one likes to get sick, but like
Just like it's like a irrational fear, like just like throwing up. I just have like phobia,
yeah.
So.
And so that like greater testimony of how God was able to use that. And then next time she'll do like 2 less tacos and she'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's
What was your final count?
I didn't count.
Tim,
How many tacos did you eat, Tim?
84.
84.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had my 15 or 20. Because I don't know, did the last 3 count?
I had 17.
I got the last 10.
You did?
You had 3 of the.
I had 3 of those.
I only had one.
I had
taco,
one, and it
yeah.
was like barely any meat.
You know what was like really memorable and like really impactful was when we had the Los Marinitas
Mhm.
for our own team member, Nadia, which it's not normal for it to be for an adult, but all of her sponsored children were there and or phoned in like a message or things like that. So her real children, one phoning in, one there, her sponsored children, but to see the impact that her sponsorship has had on their lives. Like the first dentist in a village who now wants to become an orthodontist because they don't have that service there. And then Kevin graduating, wanting to be an accountant and then come back to school. And then younger, more. It's just, I think she's sponsored, 6 or 7 kids now?
Yeah.
And just so seeing that impact over the last decade has just been awesome.
The next one on Scott's magical list is, how do you sense God used you on the trip? I did a lot. So,
Yeah.
but I think one of the things that I maybe wasn't expecting was God finding, even within the mission trip time while I was there, finding meaningful, impactful moments with certain individuals in the village, even amongst mission trip time. Because usually, like, every time people would see me, like, oh, it's so great to see you. And then I'd be like, wait till next week when I don't have a mission team, and then we can catch up and we can talk and we can whatever. And God was still able to use like quick little clips for really awesome things, or like evidence of fruit from past things. And so that was really encouraging to see that God had been able to use me in little ways that I wasn't anticipating during that week.
I just thought it was super cool to be able to help out with Sponsored Children's Project, even if like we weren't really essential to that. It was just cool to be able to help out, see that, and see like even just some of the kids is helping and impacting.
I also loved helping at the Sponsored Children's Project and like taking pictures of the kids and just like meeting with them and like talking with a lot of them. Just had like a lot of great conversations with people, like a lot of deep conversations. So I feel like God used me in that way.
I think, like I shared in church, like just like building relationships with people, and like the 2 girls I mentioned who like opened up about the things that were like bothering them at the moment, and that was really like impactful for me to see like oh, like you can have as much small talk as you want, and like even with different languages it's hard to like have more conversations than just like, oh, what food do you like what's your favorite color. But it was impactful to see that we could actually have like a true conversation about like our faith and like pray with one another. They didn't care that I was praying in English as long as they knew that someone was like supporting them.
I'm hoping that God used me to help encourage our host family and her daughter, who doesn't really attend church or youth group anymore. And so I'm just hoping that we were an encouragement, and that she can have hope that her daughter will return to the Lord.
How did God show up for you on this trip? I think Allie already shared one testimony. I jumped ahead on that one, but there's other ones.
So I think God showed up for me in that I knew there were going to be some physical challenges with like the altitude and driving up, walking. We didn't drive, walking uphill in like every direction we were going. But it actually turned out to be more than I thought physical challenges. So I wound up getting like swollen ankles and feet for like the entire week. So there was a lot of times where I just had to not do anything, which I hate that. I want to be active. I'm a worker. I like to do things. But not being able to, because my feet were so swollen, made it even more frustrating for me. So I just had to rely that what I was doing is what God wanted me to do. And then when we did get sick, that was like the ultimate physical challenge. But I think God had to meet me mentally to know that it was okay. Because he knew that was going to be a challenge, but I had no idea when I was thinking about what was going to be for the week. So that's how God met me.
That was really cool how I was staying with Peter and how he already knew his family. That was a really cool way that God let me work. And then with like how good they were with English, which really helped. I mean, me and more importantly, Peter, who's Spanish, not so great. It was also really cool. They were great and very funny. I learned they were so funny. All the jokes.
Yeah. Marisol and Abram are just a riot.
I love their kids.
Their kids are great.
Hashtag Yo Tambien.
Yeah, no, it's not necessary for the podcast, but like as we're in the building, like some people that are just like it seems like ingrained in their DNA, just so funny, or it's the environment, like their parents, like Lalo and that kind of stuff. Like when we were at the birthday party, it's just so funny. But it also for me is like a reminder and an encouragement that like you don't need to use foul language or inappropriate content to be like pee your pants funny. And so that's what I love about there, and people that just like have me dying laughing in the village, is that like, yeah, clean humor can still be like the funniest stuff.
And also like the mistakes that I would make in trying to speak Spanish. Like, so I took French.
You kept speaking French.
I know, I
That's
took
incredible.
French in school, but I haven't used it in like 30 years. And all of a sudden, I'm trying to say something, and it's the French that comes to mind first. So now I'm like, no, that's not right in my head. And then I got to speak it in Spanish, and then I do a mix of Spanish and French. And so this one time when we were in the truck driving out to the missions church for the meeting, we were just talking about how Joanna's my daughter, and I'm trying to use my Spanish. And then I said, like, she's 26 years old. And he looked at me and he was just like, it was Abram. And he was like, he just starts laughing. I'm like, she's like, what? She's 26. I was like, oh, wait, no. I like I quickly switched it to 16. And he was like, okay, that makes more sense. But it was just a really funny moment because of everything that was going on in my head. And then finally getting the Spanish out. And then that was wrong too. And I was like, no, I can do this. But I also was so blessed watching our youth interacting with their youth with Spanish. Like that really was just a huge blessing to be able to see the connections that were being made that way.
Yeah. I guess the last two things I would ask. One, what impact did you see the Sponsored Children's Project making?
Just like looking at the statistics of like how long most of them last in school, like 6th grade, I think it was.
Yeah, it used to be.
I think that it was just crazy to see how the Sponsored Children's Project is helping kids graduate and go beyond high school. Like Kevin just graduated, like we got to go to his graduation party. I think it's just amazing. And like hearing about like the orthodontist and how Kevin wants to be an accountant and just how good they're all doing in school, like it was just very encouraging to hear.
I think it's so impactful because it unites them with like the Americans or like whoever. There's a German person who does it too, with other people who want to give to them. And like I would have never like met like Ani and been like so friendly with her immediately if I didn't know her through the Sponsored Children's Project. And like Nadia and her kids, like it's so meaningful to have that relationship with one another. And also like it like proves the parents wrong, not gonna lie. Like they think that like working will put their kids to use. Like it'll give them a better, like it's a better use of their time.
Like the culture is normally, why pay to send our kids to school if the girls are just going to end up taking care of the home and having kids, and the boys are just going to end up at the ranches, and school's not required for either of those things.
Yeah, but like seeing them get their education, and then the dentist, like he's using that to like help so many more people than he would on a farm all day. I don't know. Like, not that that's not important, but yeah.
Like using the variety
Yeah.
of gifts and talents,
Yeah.
instead of just limiting the options
Yeah.
available to them. Something I didn't realize until I was much older, how many of my friends' parents didn't know how to read, but they had seen so many signs and just knew what like the signs meant. So like the functional reading of their day-to-day life was doable, but like you couldn't put like a normal book in front of them and have them just like read and comprehend. As Joanna shared in church, that she is First Methodist Collingwood's representative for the Sponsored Children's Program. So that means she'll be the one handing out letters and photos of the kids to their sponsors. And she'll also be the one that if you're interested in sponsoring a kid, it ranges from $35 to $120 for the year, depending on supplies and school level, that you can go to Joanna.
Please, we were going through the pile, and there's like a whole pile of kids that don't have sponsors.
With that, like,
So-
because I've been telling people about it, one of my good friends who's going to be teaching 4th grade this year in Pennsylvania, North Pennsylvania, at a Christian school, she's like, I want my class to sponsor a child who's also in 4th grade. So I was able to send her the website, which is why I was like, Jeremy, what's the website? So I'm hoping she goes through with that. But like, what a great connection. You know, it's not, and it's so low because like these kids don't need like clothing and houses and things like not in Lafayette. I'm sure other villages they might,
Yeah.
right? So it's not like World Vision where you're supplying all of their needs.
Yeah, very holistic,
Right.
all around the
Or
board.
you know, like Compassion, or which are good companies, like good things to do.
I
But
served
it's,
for Compassion for 3 months.
it's
I'm not against Compassion.
this is just very focused on let's get these kids in school and stay in school. So what a great classroom
And into the church, because
sponsorship.
that's, as
Yes.
Joanna mentioned,
Yes.
that's how you get qualified, is by getting into the church. VBS has been like 200 to 300 kids every year recently, and their Sunday school, like they have a large retention rate. So Sunday school's been like 100 plus kids, and then youth group has skyrocketed to like 45. Sometimes they have 60 kids come out to youth group, which is insane. Because if you're not familiar with Mexico, it's like, I mean, it's gone down in recent years, but still like 80% are Catholic or put themselves in the census as Catholic. And so very much in the minority. And yet it's the biggest and most thriving church in town. God, it's just so good. And
After we left, we saw like all the pictures on their social media from the VBS, and like they were using the rooms that we had painted.
And it looked like there was a lot of kids.
There were so many kids.
all the kids. I went my first time last year. I can't do children's ministry. Just 300 kids yelling, and they had like 40 volunteers there. That was the other thing. Like when we were there with the mission team, we were 2 weeks out from their VBS, and they were already prepping. Like they had people like every single day coming through to like get crafts ready and supplies ready and trying to work on that. And so it was really cool to see how the whole church works together.
Marisol was working on decorations while we were there.
Yeah, for VBS. And it's like not just like adults, but like even kids that will be attending VBS are helping prep for VBS. And so you just see like every generation coming together. Really important thing. And I even saw, I think Damian posted pictures of the VBS at Arroyo de Piedra,
Yes.
the one of the mission churches that is just like a roof and pews under the roof outside. And they look like they had like 40 plus again this year, which was incredible to see. And so very, very exciting. And so if we were to have another mission trip in the next handful of years, I don't know what God has planned. What would you say to people that might be considering it?
You don't have to know Spanish. Google Translate is amazing. But if it's still a couple of years out and you have some time to learn, it makes it for a much richer experience. And I would definitely go either way, though.
Start stretching your stomachs now.
Yes.
I told the team that the first meeting and they didn't believe me. I'm like, ha ha ha. And then we got there. I was like, that's why I told you.
I would just say, like, if you're feeling like called to it, like, just follow your heart and that calling, because it can definitely lead to something great.
And like there's so many different things we do while we're there. So God can use you, and like if you feel like, oh, I'm not like construction-y, like he'll use you in the sponsored children's project, or even just like talking to other people.
Yeah, that was a big part this year is like the emphasis on like our time with our families is like relational ministry, like we talked about on Sunday about encouraging and building each other up. That is not just like construction time is mission time. It's not limited to that. Timbo, any words of wisdom as a veteran?
Yeah, there's so many different ways that God can use you just on the trip besides what you'd expect. And I think it's a great opportunity for anyone who's considering it. And I think everyone I've talked to has always said they've never regretted it. And I think that's a great testament to how the trips run, what God does while you're there, and you, and what you're able to help with for God.
And you're like investing in the community, and they're going to continue doing that work when you're not there also. Like you're helping them along, but they already have been doing it for so long. Like their community is built and you're just joining them for a week.
Any closing thoughts? They're like, oh man, the people need to know, or I keep getting asked about something from people and we didn't talk about it on the podcast.
They eat a lot of limes.
Oh yeah, put lime juice on everything
Yes.
you eat. It is so good.
Yeah,
Don't
I'm
try the
so for
chilte
lemon.
beans. They'll mess you up.
And all the different waters are
Oh.
so amazing. Hibiscus water, mango water, lemon water,
Yeah.
coconut water, but not real coconut. Like but it is real coconut, but it's not like what you drink out of a coconut. Like
Yeah.
coconut water. Oh my gosh, those are amazing. The horchata. Oh, so good.
Yeah. The
Yes, we like the food.
limes and oranges are the two main crops for the village. And so we do put limes on literally any meat. Any meat, you can't go wrong. They're going to be a little sweeter when they're fresher in Mexico, but I'd still recommend it here in the States, even though you'll pay out the wazoo here in the States. And then the waters, yeah, it's like in America, like
Gatorade.
like the lemonades, where it's like the fruit juice, water, and sugar. And so but they call it like agua de water of whatever fruit. And so yeah, they give us like all the different fruits.
But it's all fresh squeezed, like right there in front of you.
Yeah.
Like,
Every single day.
so yummy.
I feel like we can't really describe like how meaningful it was like in words. Like even if you're listening to us, like I know
You can say.
it's hard to match the freak, but
Very true.
But,
Gotta match
yeah.
your freak.
just know that it was like so amazing. Like I can't really describe how fulfilled I felt and just like at peace.
I agree.
So I'm going to open up the podcast with Matching the Freak. Sweet. Thank you, everybody.